The alarm bells rang loud across Earth Defense Station Alpha, floating in space near Mars. Commander Jake Miller jumped from his chair in the control room. His coffee cup hit the floor as red warning lights flashed everywhere. "Sir, we have an unknown ship at the edge of our solar system," said Lieutenant Ben Torres, his hands moving fast over the computer controls. "It just appeared out of nowhere." Jake ran to the main screen. A strange ship hung in space, broken and smoking. It looked nothing like human ships. The metal was blue and curved, with parts falling off into space. "Are they trying to talk to us?" Jake asked. "Yes, sir. They're sending signals on all frequencies. It sounds like they want help." Captain Lisa Carter hurried into the room. She was Earth's best expert on alien life, though she had never seen a real alien before. Nobody had. This was the first time aliens had come to Earth. "Let me hear their message," Lisa said. Ben played the recording. Strange sounds filled the room. It was like music mixed with whale songs and computer noises. Lisa frowned as she listened. "It's a language, but unlike anything we know," she said. "Give me 30 minutes with the translation computer." While Lisa worked, Jake called Admiral Paul Wright on Earth. The Admiral was in charge of all human spaceships and soldiers. This was too big for Jake to handle alone. "An alien ship?" Paul said through the video call. "Are you sure it's real?" "Very sure, sir. Captain Carter is working on translating their message now." After an hour, Lisa came back with good news. "I got it working. The aliens have some kind of universal translator. We can talk to them now." The main screen changed. An alien face appeared. It looked like a mix between a dolphin and a person with smooth blue skin and large black eyes. Water seemed to float around its head. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the alien said. Its voice sounded like it was speaking underwater. "I am Ambassador Kira of the Zilani people. We come in peace, but we need your help." Jake stepped forward. "This is Commander Miller. What kind of help do you need?" Kira's large eyes looked sad. "Our worlds are dying. A great enemy destroys everything in its path. We call them the Harvester Swarm. They are machines that eat entire planets." Lisa moved closer to the screen. "Machines like robots?" "Yes, but worse. They learn from every battle. They copy themselves again and again. They turn living things into metal and circuits." Kira's voice shook with fear. 12 star systems are gone. Billions of people are dead. Admiral Wright appeared on another screen. He had been listening from Earth. "Why come to us? We humans are new to space travel. Surely other aliens are stronger than us." "We tried everyone," Kira said. "The Kithara are great warriors, but the machines adapted to their weapons. The Vorthon have powerful shields, but the swarm broke through. The Nex can read minds, but machines have no minds to read." She paused, looking directly at Jake. "But we heard stories about humans. Stories that you fight differently, that you use weapons others fear to touch." Paul raised an eyebrow. "What kind of weapons?" "We do not know the details. Only that when humans go to war, they hold nothing back. They use the fire of stars themselves." Jake felt a chill. The aliens were talking about nuclear weapons. Humans were the only species they knew that used atomic energy for war. "How long before these harvesters reach human space?" Paul asked. Kira looked down. 2 of your years, maybe less. They move faster as they grow stronger." Dr. Helen Brooks joined the conversation from her office on Earth. She was the smartest war planner humans had. "Can you show us these harvester machines?" "Yes," Kira said. "I will send you our battle records." The screens filled with horrible images. Giant metal spiders crawled over green planets, sucking up trees and animals. In space, black ships shaped like cubes fired red beams that cut through alien warships like paper. Worst of all were the videos of planets after the harvesters finished. Nothing left but gray rock and metal factories. "How many are there?" Helen asked. "Millions," Kira whispered. "And more every day. They build new machines from everything they destroy." Jake watched the videos and felt sick. He had seen war before, but this was different. This was the end of everything. "What do you want from us?" Paul asked. Send ships with us, fight beside us, your weapons might work where ours failed. Kira looked hopeful for the first time. We offer fair trade. Our technology for your help. Humans looked at each other. This was the biggest decision in human history. Help aliens fight robot monsters or stay safe on Earth and hope the monsters never came. Admiral Wright spoke first. We need to see the situation ourselves before we decide anything big. But we won't leave friends to die alone. You will help? Kira asked, her eyes growing wide. We'll send a small force to look around and learn more, Paul said. Captain Steve? Mason will lead our ships, he's one of our best. Jake saw hope return to Kira's face. Thank you, humans of Earth. You may be our last chance. As the call ended, Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, machines were eating entire worlds, and somehow, humans might be the only ones who could stop them. Get Captain Mason ready, Paul said through the comm, and wake up the nuclear engineers. If we're going to war against machines, we'll need our biggest guns. Jake nodded. The aliens had asked for help, and humans would answer. The question was whether their answer would be enough to save the galaxy. Captain Steve Mason stood on the bridge of his battleship UES Defiance as they jumped out of hyperspace. What he saw made his stomach turn. The beautiful blue ocean world of Aquaria was dying. My God, whispered Commander Amy Foster, his second in command. Look what they did to it. Half the planet was gone. Giant machines crawled across the surface like metal ants, eating everything. The blue oceans had turned gray and dirty. Smoke rose from 1,000 fires. Get me Ambassador Kira, Steve said. Kira appeared on the screen, but she looked different now. Her smooth blue skin was pale, and her large eyes were red from crying. Welcome to what remains of our home, Captain Mason. I'm sorry, Steve said. We came as fast as we could. The attack happened 3 days ago, Kira explained. We saved 2 million people, but 50 million are gone. The machines took them all. Lieutenant Dan Clark, the human military expert, leaned forward. Can you show us how the attack happened? General Thane will help you, Kira said. He leads our remaining forces. The screen changed to show a new alien. This one looked like a giant insect with 6 arms and red eyes. When General Thane spoke, his voice sounded like metal scraping metal. Humans, I will show you how we die, Thane said. The battle recordings played on the main screen. Steve watched Zalani ships fight bravely against the black cube machines. The alien weapons hit the harvesters and seemed to work at first. But then something terrible happened. Watch this part, Thane said, pointing with one of his 6 arms. A harvester machine was cut in half by a Zalani energy beam. But instead of dying, the machine grew new parts to replace what was lost. Within minutes, it was whole again. They learn from every attack, Thane explained. Hit them with energy beams, they grow stronger shields. Use missiles, they make better armor. We cannot win because they become immune to everything we do. Dr. Kate Phillips, the human scientist on the mission, studied the recordings carefully. How do they talk to each other? There must be some kind of communication system. Yes, said a new voice. Another alien appeared on screen. This one looked like a tall, thin human but with silver skin and no hair. I am Commander Zara of the Vorthon people. The machines use quantum signals to share information instantly across space. Kate's eyes grew wide. That's incredible technology, but it might also be their weakness. What do you mean? Steve asked. If they all share information at the same time, there might be a moment when they're vulnerable, like when all the machines are listening to each other at once. General Thane shook his head sadly. We tried that. The window is too small. Only lasts a few seconds. We cannot hit them hard enough or fast enough to matter. Steve nodded and called Admiral Wright on Earth. The communication took several minutes to connect across the vast distance of space. Admiral, the situation is worse than we thought, Steve reported. These machines don't just fight back, they get stronger every time you attack them. Wright's face was serious on the screen. How many are there? Millions, sir. And the number grows every day. Every planet they eat makes more machines. Back on his ship, Steve met with his team to study pieces of destroyed harvester machines. Engineer Roy Garcia was their best tech expert. He spent hours looking at the metal and circuits. "Captain, you need to see this," Roy said, calling Steve over to his work table. "What did you find?" Roy pointed to burn marks on a piece of harvester armor. "These machines have seen nuclear weapons before." Steve felt his heart beat faster. "Are you sure?" "Positive. See these scorch patterns? That's atomic fire damage, but look at this." Roy showed him other parts of the machine. They built defenses against small nuclear bombs, the kind most planets use for power or small wars. "But not against our weapons," Steve said quietly. "No, sir. Their defenses are made to stop 1 or 2 bombs, maybe a dozen at most. They've never seen what humans do when we really go to war." Steve knew what Roy meant. Other species used nuclear weapons carefully, like a surgeon uses a knife. Humans used them like a hammer over and over until nothing was left. That night, Steve made a difficult choice. He called a meeting with all the alien leaders. "We need to tell you about human weapons," Steve said when everyone was gathered. "Ambassador." Kira looked hopeful. "You have something that can hurt the machines?" "Yes, but you won't like it," Steve said. "Humans use nuclear weapons. Lots of them." The aliens looked shocked. General Thane's red eyes grew wide. Commander Zara stepped backward. "You weaponized Starfire?" Kira asked, her voice full of horror. "We had to," Steve explained. "We fought wars on Earth for a long time. Nuclear weapons ended those wars." "How many do you have?" Thane asked. "Thousands, and we're not afraid to use them all at once." The aliens looked at each other. The idea scared them, but they were desperate. "Would your nuclear weapons work against the machines?" Kira asked. Engineer Roy answered. "The harvesters are ready for small nuclear attacks, but if we hit them with hundreds of bombs at the same time, they won't be able to adapt fast enough." "You would do this for us?" Thane asked. "Risk nuclear war in space?" Steve nodded. "The machines are coming for Earth, too. Better to fight them here with friends than alone at home." Kira was quiet for a long time. Finally, she spoke. "We always thought nuclear weapons were too dangerous to use, but maybe that's what we need now. Something too dangerous for the machines to expect." "I'll contact Admiral Wright," Steve said. "If we're going to do this, we'll need every nuclear weapon humanity has." As the meeting ended, Steve looked out at the dying planet below. Soon, human ships would come with weapons of starfire. The question was whether they would arrive in time to save anyone. Admiral Paul Wright sat in the war room deep inside Earth's military headquarters. Around the big table sat the most important people on the planet. President Linda Hayes looked tired. She had not slept much since Captain Mason's report arrived. "So, let me understand this," President Hayes said. "Alien robots are eating the galaxy and our new alien friends want us to nuke them?" "That's right, Madam President," Admiral Wright said. "Captain Mason believes our nuclear weapons are the only thing that can stop these machines." General Tom Bradley, head of Earth's nuclear forces, spread photos across the table. "We have 3,000 nuclear warheads ready for space combat. But if we're fighting millions of adaptive machines, we'll need something special." Dr. Carl Stone, Earth's best nuclear scientist, stood up. "I've been working on new designs. We can make the bombs more powerful by mixing them with antimatter. One of these new weapons could destroy a small moon." President Hayes looked worried. "Are we sure we want to use such terrible weapons? What if something goes wrong?" "Madam President," said Dr. Helen Brooks, "if we don't stop these machines now, they'll reach Earth in 2 years. Then we'll have to use nuclear weapons to defend our own planet." The president was quiet for a long time. Finally, she nodded. "Do it. Operation Stellar Hammer is approved. Give our people every weapon they need." Meanwhile, in space near Mars, Commander Jake Miller was busy preparing the joint human-alien fleet. The aliens had sent their best ships to help, but working together was not easy. Captain Lisa Carter spent her days teaching aliens about human war tactics. The aliens were confused by how humans thought about fighting. "You treat nuclear weapons like normal tools," said Commander Zara of the Vorthan people. "Are you not afraid of such power?" Lisa shrugged. "We learned to use fire, then gunpowder, then explosives. Nuclear weapons are just the next step. When something threatens our family, we use whatever works. Colonel Nick Wade was training alien pilots to fly with human squadrons. The aliens were good fighters, but they held back too much. You think too much about not hurting your enemy, Nick told a group of insect-like Kythera pilots. Against these machines, you need to hit first, hit hard, and keep hitting until nothing moves. The biggest problem was time. Major Sue Allen, the intelligence officer, brought bad news every day. The harvester swarm is moving faster than expected, Sue reported to Admiral Wright. Our spy satellites show they're only 4 months away from the next alien world. Can we be ready in 4 months? Wright asked. General Bradley looked at his notes. We're making good progress. Dr. Stone's new antimatter bombs are almost finished. We'll have 50 of them ready in 3 months. What about the regular nuclear weapons? Wright asked. 2,000 warheads are already loaded onto our ships. We're working on the rest. Dr. Helen Brooks had been studying maps of the galaxy. I have an idea for where to fight them. There's a dead star system called Kepler 442. No planets, no life, just empty space and an old sun. Why there? Wright asked. The harvesters will go there to collect metals from the dead planets. We can set a trap, surround them, then hit them with everything we have. Jake Miller liked the plan. If we can get them all in one place, our nuclear weapons will be most effective. But Dr. Kate Phillips had discovered something worrying. The machines are learning about our preparations. They have spy drones watching our fleet. How much do they know? Wright asked. They know we're building up for an attack, but they don't understand our nuclear capabilities yet. They think we're like the other aliens. General Bradley smiled. Good. Let them think that. When they see what human nuclear doctrine really means, it'll be too late. The work continued day and night. Human engineers worked with alien scientists to combine their technologies. The aliens provided better shields and faster engines. Humans provided the weapons and the will to use them. Engineer Roy Garcia was especially busy. He was modifying nuclear warheads to work in space combat. These new bombs can track moving targets, he explained to Admiral Wright. The machines won't be able to run away. Captain Steve Mason returned from the alien worlds with more bad news. I saw another harvester attack. A planet called Nexus Prime, 20 billion people lived there. Now it's just empty rock and metal factories. The aliens were getting desperate. Ambassador Kira called Admiral Wright every day begging for help. Please, Admiral Wright, Kira said during one call. We're down to our last few worlds. If you don't come soon, there will be no one left to save. Wright looked at his calendar. 2 more weeks, Ambassador. We need 2 more weeks to finish our preparations. We don't have 2 weeks, Kira said, tears flowing down her blue face. The machines will reach our capital world in 10 days. Wright made a hard choice. Then we go now, ready or not. General Bradley, how many nuclear weapons do we have available? 1,500 regular warheads and 30 of the new antimatter bombs, Bradley replied. Is that enough? Wright asked Dr. Brooks. It'll have to be, she said. If we wait any longer, there won't be anyone left to help. The final meeting included all the human and alien leaders. Admiral Wright stood at the head of the table. Ladies and gentlemen, beings of all species, he began. Tomorrow we jump to the Kepler 442 system. The harvester swarm is gathering there to process materials from 3 dead worlds. He pointed to a star map on the wall. Our plan is simple. The alien fleet will attack first, drawing the machines into the center of the system. Then our nuclear forces will hit them from all sides. General Thane, the insect warrior, asked, What if your nuclear weapons don't work? Wright looked him in the eye. Then we keep shooting nuclear weapons until something does work. That's the human way. Captain Mason raised his hand. Sir, what about radiation? Won't the nuclear explosions be dangerous to our alien friends? Our ships have the best shielding in the galaxy, Commander Zara said. We can handle the radiation for a few hours. A few hours? Wright asked. You might want to plan for a few days. When humans go nuclear, we don't stop halfway. As the meeting ended, everyone knew this would be the biggest battle in galactic history. The fate of all living things would be decided in the cold space around a dead star. Admiral Wright looked out at the stars one last time before the battle. Tomorrow the galaxy would learn what happened when humans went to war with the fire of stars themselves. Admiral Paul Wright stood on the bridge of his flagship UES Retribution as the combined fleet jumped into the Kepler 442 system. What they saw made even the veteran soldiers gasp. The space around the dead star was black with harvester machines. Millions of metal cubes floated in perfect formation, like a dark cloud that stretched across the solar system. Each cube was the size of a city building, and red lights blinked on their surfaces like evil eyes. "My God," whispered Captain Steve Mason from his ship, UES Defiance. "There are so many of them." "All ships. This is Admiral Wright," Paul said, into his communicator. "Remember the plan. Alien forces attack first, draw them into the center, then we light them up." Ambassador Kira's voice came over the radio from her ship. "Human friends, we begin our attack now. May the stars protect us all." The alien fleet moved forward. Zilani ships that looked like blue dolphins swam through space. Kithara warships, shaped like giant insects, buzzed around the enemy. Forthan vessels, long and silver-like needles, fired energy beams at the black cubes. At first the plan worked perfectly. The harvester machines responded just like Dr. Brooks predicted. They moved to fight the aliens, gathering in the center of the system like fish in a net. "They're taking the bait," reported Lieutenant Dan Clark from his monitoring station. "Harvester forces are concentrating in Sector 7. But then something went wrong. The machines started learning faster than expected. "Admiral," called Commander Amy Foster. "The harvesters are adapting to alien weapons in real time. Look at this." On the main screen, they watched a Zilani energy beam hit a harvester cube. The beam cut through the machine's armor easily, but within seconds, the hole closed up and the armor became shiny and reflective. "The next energy beam just bounced off," Amy said with worry in her voice. General Thane's voice crackled over the radio. "Humans, we cannot hold them much longer. They are learning too fast." Admiral Wright looked at General Tom Bradley, who was in charge of the nuclear weapons. "Tom, are we ready?" "All nuclear forces are in position, sir. 1,500 warheads locked and loaded. Then let's show these machines what humans do when we get serious." Wright picked up his communicator. "All alien ships, retreat to safe distance immediately. Nuclear weapons free. I repeat, nuclear weapons free." Captain Jake Miller led the first nuclear attack. His squadron of 12 ships surrounded the harvester formation. Each ship carried 50 nuclear warheads. "Target locked," Jake reported. "Firing nuclear missiles now." 600 nuclear warheads flew toward the harvester swarm. The machines tried to shoot them down, but there were too many missiles coming from too many directions. The first explosions lit up space like new suns. White fire bloomed across the darkness, each blast hot enough to melt mountains. The harvester. Machines caught in the explosion simply vanished, turned to hot gas in an instant. But Engineer Roy Garcia was watching the machines that survived. "Admiral, they're trying to adapt to the radiation." "How long do we have?" Wright asked. "Maybe 10 minutes before they figure out how to resist nuclear weapons." Wright smiled grimly. 10 minutes is longer than they need." He opened communications. "To all human ships. All vessels, begin continuous nuclear bombardment. Do not stop firing until I give the order." What happened next had never been seen in galactic history. Human ships fired nuclear weapons as fast as they could reload them. Not one or two at a time like other species might do, but hundreds at once. Captain Lisa Carter watched from the science ship UES Discovery as space turned into a nuclear hellstorm. "The radiation levels are off the charts," she reported. "Any living thing out there would be dead in seconds." "Good thing we're fighting machines," Wright replied. But the machines were fighting back. Harvester cubes that survived the first nuclear strikes fired red beams at human ships. Colonel Nick Wade's squadron took heavy damage. "We've lost the UES. Hammer," Nick reported. "Direct hit from harvester beam weapons." "Keep firing," Wright ordered. "For every ship we lose, we're destroying 1,000 of them." Dr. Kate Phillips was monitoring the battle from her station. "Admiral, the Harvester communication network is breaking down. Too much radiation is interfering with their quantum signals." "Now's our chance," Wright said. "All ships with antimatter weapons target the center of their formation." Captain Steve Mason's ship carried 5 of the new antimatter bombs. Each one was powerful enough to destroy a small moon. "Antimatter weapons armed and ready, sir." "Fire." "When ready, Captain." Steve pressed the launch button. 5 antimatter warheads flew toward the heart of the Harvester swarm. When they exploded, the light was so bright that ship windows automatically darkened to protect human eyes. The explosions were different from nuclear weapons. Instead of fire and heat, antimatter created perfect spheres of destruction that deleted everything they touched. Thousands of Harvester machines simply stopped existing. "Direct hit on their command center," reported Major Sue Allen. "I'm seeing massive system failures across the Harvester network." But the battle was not over. The surviving machines tried to escape, spreading out in all directions like a swarm of angry bees. "They're trying to run," observed Dr. Carl Stone. "If even a few escape, they could rebuild the entire swarm." Admiral Wright would not let that happen. "All ships pursue and destroy. Use every nuclear weapon we have. I want nothing left alive in this system." For the next 6 hours, human ships chased down fleeing Harvester machines across the solar system. Nuclear explosions flashed like lightning in the darkness. No machine was allowed to escape. Engineer Roy Garcia monitored the final phases of the battle. "Admiral, I'm detecting one large Harvester construct trying to hide behind the dead star." "That must be their central intelligence," Wright said, "the brain that controls all the others." Captain Jake Miller volunteered for the final mission. "My ship still has nuclear weapons, sir. I can take it out." "Negative, Captain. This requires our biggest gun." Wright turned to Dr. Stone. "Doctor, do we have any of those experimental planet killer warheads ready?" "One, sir, but it's never been tested. Today seems like a good day to test it." The planet killer warhead was loaded onto Admiral Wright's own ship. It was so powerful that his ship had to retreat to minimum safe distance before firing. "All ships clear the area," Wright announced. "We're going nuclear one last time." The final warhead flew toward the hiding Harvester intelligence. When it exploded, the flash could be seen from the next star system. The dead star itself shook from the blast. When the light faded, there was nothing left where the Harvester intelligence had been hiding, just empty space and cooling radiation. "All stop," Wright commanded. "Cease fire. Battle is over." Across the fleet, humans and aliens cheered. The Harvester swarm, terror of the galaxy, was finally dead. Ambassador Kira's voice came over the radio, full of tears and joy. "Humans of Earth, you have saved us all. How can we ever repay such a debt?" Admiral Wright looked out at the space where millions of enemy machines had been destroyed by human nuclear fire. "Just remember this day, Ambassador. Remember what happens when someone threatens our friends. The galaxy would indeed remember. The day humans went nuclear and saved everyone.